Welcome back to the courtyard. This video is about our trek to Masada, and you'll see that it's more desert and yeah, just not a lot of life there, but sort of some interesting things to discuss as the footage rolls that I'll talk about here in a minute. This was significant historically as kind of the last stand for the Second Temple period. The Jews that escaped there were trying to live and to survive. We know ultimately that they did not, and so it has significance for that reason. But you'll see a lot of footage from up on top. We'll go down into a cistern and look around at just some of the significant sites. There is a synagogue up there. At one point, it also was a place for Byzantine monks in the 4th and 5th centuries to go and to escape. But Masada, an interesting place, historically significant, and you will see the footage rolling, and I'll try to explain it as it goes. This is the tram ride up to the top of Masada. You may think, wow, that's going really fast. Well, it is. I sped up the video because it's the entire trip, which I think took about 2.5 minutes, but I have it moving much faster. Now, this is looking over the Judean desert, and the Dead Sea is out in the distance, something like 30 kilometers, 20 kilometers, which was like 12 miles. And so you're up on top of this plateau, overlooking the Dead Sea in the middle of the desert, and it's just a neat experience. Now, Masada is not necessarily biblically significant, but after the temple, the second temple was destroyed in 70 A.D. by the Romans, there was a group of Jews who fled to Masada, which was, I think it was Herod's palace that he kind of left fully stocked and just kind of deserted it. And so they went to this place that you're seeing this footage from to try to survive. The Romans were sieging the city, and they've destroyed the temple. And according to the historian Josephus, the siege on Masada lasted from 73 to 74 AD. And what they did was they built a land bridge up to the top of this plateau in order to come and capture and kill the survivors. And what you're seeing here is one of their cisterns, and it's just a really, really interesting place to go look at, and you'll see how large this cistern is. Now, I'm sure in 70s AD there would have actually been water in this cistern, as they would have used it to survive, and they went to this place as a way to live, and it ended up being kind of like a suicide pact. And as the Romans were, knocking down their fortress, they had built the land bridge up to the top of this plateau, which I'm sure was an amazing feat of engineering, and took many, many man hours and whatnot. Obviously, at least a year. As they were breaking down the doors, as the historians tell it, the last of the survivors was killing themselves because they would rather face death than slavery at the hand of the Romans. Obviously, it's a difficult choice to make, not one that I would ever want to make, but they kind of present these people as heroes, which is contested. I'm not sure I would necessarily agree with that, but this is just an interesting place to go and consider. This is the cistern, which we had all to ourselves. That's my dad there on the steps, but massive, massive structure, which would have held water. I'm sure thousands of gallons of drinking water would fit in there for them to be able to survive on. But obviously the Romans came and were able to capture them, and it is just an interesting place to go and to look. That's a view of the land bridge, or what is left of it. It looks a lot more impressive in person, and that's the Dead Sea in the distance there. Um, but a very historically significant place where a lot of people go, oh, okay, this is really interesting. It was really interesting to me, at least. That's the restaurant we went to afterwards. The picture of that plane that you saw is an airplane flying below sea level. Just think about that. So it's an airplane, but it is, as you can see, we're going down in elevation here, but we were never above sea level this whole time, because the Dead Sea is 432 meters below sea level, and we didn't go up 432 meters to get to the top of Masada. So I was looking down at an airplane flying, and this is an airplane flying below sea level. I thought it was cool. Nobody else seemed to really care a whole lot about it. But I just thought that was an interesting and unique experience. One that I wouldn't be able to get in many other places in the world. There might be 2 other places in the world that could happen. So that was Masada, and the airplane flying below sea level with a negative elevation. It's an airplane flying with a negative elevation. I thought that was cool. And then we got down, and as you can see here, some people just can't hang. Eleanor maybe thought it was boring. I'm not sure. She was tired. We did a lot that day, and so she fell asleep. But we were thankful. That was, I joked that was Lot's wife, because that would have been near to where that took place as well. And we are then making our trek to the Dead Sea. So that's Masada, and I was trying to make the joke there at the end that that was Lot's wife because she turned to a pillar of salt, but it was, I think they just made a statue maybe to look like a person, maybe so people would think of that, because Sodom and Gomorrah would have been in that region as well. Masada, again, interesting place to go, and that was our experience with it. And if you, I don't know, have any follow-up questions, I'm sure I could talk about it more, but it was just a neat place to go. Walking around in the desert, though, I mean, it was over 100 degrees again. Nice breeze up on top, which is nice, but just a hot place. Interesting, historically significant. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Shalom.